जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। अजय राधा गोविंद राधे, जय प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, गौर हरि बोल। गौर प्रेमानंदे। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अस्तोत्र सतश्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अस्तोत्र सतश्री श्रीमद शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज प्रभुपाद की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। श्री मायपुर नवद्वीप धाम की। श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। गंगा यमुना भक्ति देवी की। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udhirayet नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णे स्वधामो भगते धर्मज्ञानाद्भिः सह कलौ नष्टदशामेषा पुराणार्को विदो निदतः. So reading from Srimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 31. Tato varnascha chatvaras. You can control it. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshav api vedagyo. Hiyartagyo bhyadikastatha. Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshav api vedagyo. Hi artagyo bhyadikastatha. Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshav api vedagyo. Hi arthagyo bhyadikastatha. Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmanesha vivedagyo. Hyartagyo bhyadikastatha. Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshvapi vedagyo. Hyartagyo bhyadikastatha. Ladies? Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshvapi vedagyo. Yartagyo bhyadikastatha. Tato varnascha chatvaras. Tesham brahmana uttama. Brahmaneshvapi vedagyo. Hyartagyo bhyadikastatha. Tatha, among them, varnaha, classes, cha, and chatvaraha, four, tesham, of them, brahmanaha, a brahmana, uttama, best, brahmaneshu, among the brahmanas, api, moreover, Veda, the Vedas, Gya, one who knows, He, certainly, Artha, the purpose, Gya, one who knows, Abhyadika, better, Tata, than him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhai Sharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Among human beings, the society which is divided according to quality and work is best. And in that society, the intelligent men who are designated as Brahmanas are best. Among the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best. And among the Brahmanas who have studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purport of the Veda is best. Please repeat after me. Among human beings, the society which is divided according to quality and work is best. And in that society, the intelligent men who are designated as Brahmanas are best. Among the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best. And among the Brahmanas who have studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purport of Veda is the best. Purport. The system of 4 classifications in human society according to quality and work is very scientific. This system of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras has now become vitiated as the present caste system in India. And if you're wondering what vitiated means, I just give the translation. Vitiated means spoil or impair the quality or efficiency of. So let me repeat that sentence. The system of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras has now become vitiated as the present caste system in India. But it appears that the system has been current a very long time, since it is mentioned in Srimad Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Unless there is such a division of the social orders in human society, including the intelligent class, the martial class, the mercantile class, and the labor class, there's always confusion as to who is to work for what purpose. A person trained in the stage of understanding the absolute truth is a Brahmana. And when such a Brahmana is Vedagya, he understands the purpose of Veda. The purpose of Veda is to understand the absolute. One who understands the absolute in 3 phases, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and who understands the term Bhagavan to mean the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is considered to be the best of the Brahmanas or a Vaishnava. Can I have my phone real quick? I want to do something a little bit non-traditional. Non-traditional key, Jai. So there's the Mangala Charan, which we all speak, but I heard from senior devotees that actually we should memorize the Mangala Charan of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's bona fide because Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami did it, and he thought it was good enough, so why not good enough for us, right? Is that okay with everybody? Yeah? Yeah, one second. I'm just getting making it easier for us to read. We will just read the Sanskrit and the Bengali, and then we can continue and you guys can do the translations for your homework. I can do this one. Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakan Tat Prakasham Shatat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samyakam Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Goradoye Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonudo Yad Advaitam Brahmopanishadi Tadapyasya Tanubha Ya Atmantaryami Purusha Iti Sosyam Sabibhava Sadaishvarye Purno Yaiha Bhagavan Sasvayamayam Na Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Paramiha Anarpita charim chirat karunayavatirna kalo samarpayitum unnatto jvalarasam svabhakti sriyam hari purata sundara dhyuti kadamba sandipita sada hridaya kandare spuratuva sachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rasmad Ekat Manav Api Bhuvi Bhuvara Deha Bhedam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tadbhayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Subalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayeva Swadyo Yenadbhuta Madhurima कीदृशो वा मदीया सौख्यं चास्य मद अनुभवता कीदृशं नेति लोभात् तद्भावध्य समजनि सची गर्भ सिंधो हरिंदो संकर्षण कारणतोयशयि गर्भोदशयि च पयोब्धिशयि शेषश्च यस्यांश कलास नित्या नन्दाख्य राम शरणं ममास्तु मायातीते व्यापि वैकुण्ठलोके पूर्णैश्वर्ये श्रीचतुर्म्यूह मध्ये रूपं यस्योद्भाति संकर्षणाख्यं तं श्रीनित्यानन्दरामं प्रपद्ये माया भर्ता झण्ड संगाश्रयंगा शेते साक्षात्करणाम्भोधि मध्ये यस्यैकांश श्रीपुमान् आदिदेवस् तं श्रीनित्यानन्दरामं प्रपद्ये यस्यांशांश शीलगर्भोदशयि यन्नाभ्याब्जं लोकसङ्गातनालं लोकस्रष्टुसूतिका धाम धातुस्तं श्रीनित्यानन्दरामं प्रपद्ये यस्यांशांश परमात्म्यखिलानं पोष्ठ विष्णुर्भाति दुग्धाब्दिशयि चौनी भर्त यत्कलासोऽप्यनन्तस् तं श्रीनित्यानन्दरामं प्रपद्ये महाविष्णु जगत्कर्ता मायया यस्रजत्यधा तस्यावतार एवायम् अद्वैताचार्य ईश्वरा अद्वैतं हरिणाद्वैताद् आचार्यं भक्ति संशनात् भक्तावतारमीशं तम् अद्वैताचार्यमाश्रये पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जयतां सुरतो पंगोर्मम मंदमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वापदं भोजो राधा मदन मोहनो दिव्यार्विन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद् राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानं रामी श्रीमन्रासरसारम्भी वंशीवतटतस्थिता कर्षान्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु नः जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद एथीन ठाकुर गौरिया के कोरिया चेनात्मसात एतीनेर चरण बंधन तीरे मोरनाथ ग्रंथेर आरंभ करी मंगल चरण गुरु वैष्णव भगवान तीनेर स्मरण होय विघ्न विनाशना अनायासे होय निज वांछित पुराण जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत् Hare Krishna. Before I start speaking, I'd like to beg the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas, all the devotees assembled. And wasn't it nice to read the translation, the Sanskrit of the Chaitanya Charitamrita? It was too nice, right? So much nice. Yes, it's basically, if you read those verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Mangala Charan, the next, I think, I don't know, like 10, 11 chapters are just unpacking these 24 verses, these 22 verses of the Mangala Charan. And it tells you about Lord Chaitanya, why he came, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, the three main deities of Vrindavan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda Ju, and Radha Gopinath, the main deities. And then E teen Thakuradi Ghodiya ke Achmar Sant, E teener Charana Vandan, Teene Moranath. These, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is praying to these three deities, and by them, Sarva Vigna Vinashana. He is all obstacles are gone by remembering these three deities. So we'll read the translation of the Bhāgavatam verse we're given today. Among human beings, the society which is divided according to quality and work is best. And in that society, the intelligent men who are designated as Brahmanas are best. Amongst the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best. And amongst the Brahmanas who have studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purport of the Veda is best. So this section of the Srimad Bhāgavatam, Amala Purana, which means spotless Purana, is entitled Explanations of Devotional Service. So Kapila Muni is doing something very scientific in these verses, in these chapters. So he's explaining the science of Sankhya Yoga in I think till chapter 33. He's doing 33 or 31. He's explaining Sankhya Yoga, and then once he explains why Sankhya Yoga, then he moves on to Ashtanga Yoga. And actually first we talked about the material nature, about how it's formed according to elements. Then he moved on to Ashtanga Yoga, on how he created the how one can realize the self through dharana, asana, pranayama, and then up to samadhi. And then he gets to now Bhakti Yoga, which is this chapter. And this chapter, a few verses ago, verse 28, actually he's speaking about how to relate with devotees. If you remember a few classes ago, there was, I remember even, I think we were discussing this in chapter 28 before I even left for India. And we were discussing about the Kanishta and the Madhyama and the Uttama Adhikari. And how the Kanishta Adhikari can respect the deity, they have full respect for the deity, but they do not know how to relate with the Lord's devotees. And this is a sign of Kanishta. And in this, now Kapila Muni is speaking, and he's speaking about, in verse 28 of this chapter, he starts speaking about how to purify one's desires. And he says in verse 28 and 27, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, who abide in all creatures as their very self. So he's saying to be friendly, friendly to all living creatures, and to look at everybody as same. Anybody know any verses from the Bhagavad Gita that backs this claim up? Pandita. How does it start? Pandita sama Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavanahastini Suni Chaiva Svapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. One should look at an elephant, a dog eater, and a Brahmana with an equal eye. Pandita Sama, equal Darshina. And Kapila Muni is saying the same thing. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport something in verse 28 about how this is practical and how it is applicable in our lives, but how it can be misunderstood. Now, hear what Srila Prabhupada is saying. In the previous verse, it was explained that living entities should be honored by charitable gifts and friendly behavior. And in this verse, and in the following verses, the description of different grades of living entities is given so that one can know when to behave friendly and when to give charity. For example, a tiger is a living entity, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Lord is living in the heart of the tiger as Super Soul. But does that mean that we have to treat the tiger in a friendly manner? Certainly not. So there's a way of treating all living entities in this world, treating everybody friendly, treating everybody, but main thing is treating everybody according to their position. How are people situated these days? Now, if I go to Mr. Tiger, and I give him a handshake and I say, hey, have you heard of Bhagavad Gita? And he will be, and I try to distribute a book. He'll be like, no, thank you. I would like to eat you. I did this drama when I was a kid back in Columbus. It was called Punarmushika Bhava. Again, become a mouse. And then you know the story. Prabhupada says the yogi, the mouse wants to become a cat. Cat wants to become a dog, then the dog wants to become a tiger, and the tiger wants to go eat the yogi, and the yogi says, Punarmushika Bhava, again become a mouse. So, this tiger, I played the tiger, of course, and I was like screaming, again, I want to eat you, dear sage, and then I became a mouse again. So, there's a way of treating people in this world that is according to how their capacity is. And we see this even in the professional world. Even in the professional world, we see you wouldn't treat the CEO the same as you treat, the mail boy. So, and this is backed up by the Bhāgavatam. I wish I could show these verses to you, but if you want to pull them up on my phone, I'm just going to pull up some verses and then you can... Or do I need to do the mirroring? Mirroring, Q60. Should work. 11:247, Srimad Bhāgavatam, it mentions one very nice verse. I remember this verse is, this Marj Nimi meeting the Navayogendras, and he's saying about the Kanishta Adhikari. A devotee who faithfully engages in worship of the deity in the temple but does not behave properly toward other devotees or people in general is called a prakrita bhakta, a materialistic devotee, and is considered to be in the lowest position. Now, if you respect the deity and if you don't take care of the other devotees or people in general, this verse doesn't say just devotees. We must treat everybody kindly. If you do that, you are considered a materialistic devotee. Why? Because you are seeing separation between Krishna and his amshas, his tatashta shaktis, where the jiva is present in every single one of us. And you're seeing Krishna, as we know, sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. He is located in the heart of every living entity. So we must respect them. And in the following next verse, it is saying about actually 46, the previous verse before that, 11:246. Mentions about the Madhyamadhikari. An intermediate or second-class devotee called Madhyamadhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a sincere friend to all devotees of the Lord. And he shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we must at least get to the platform of Madhyamadhikari. So Kapila Muni is speaking about the living entities accordingly. And it's mentioning that you actually need this power of discrimination. Now let's talk about something our acharyas have given. Nectar Instruction 5. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasi chet pranitibhischa bhajantam isham shushushaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanya nindadishunya hridam ipsita sangalabhya. Translation: one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So these are three different categories Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us. And immediately, if someone says Hare Krishna, can you guys say Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Then at least we should offer respects in the mind. And one who has taken Diksha. Diksha can be of two things. Diksha means, in one sense, the beginning of spiritual life. And once one has started spiritual life, one should actually pay obeisances, at least with the hands, or at least falling down like a rod, dandavats. And one who's very advanced in devotional service, who doesn't criticize others, and who is who always serves Krishna and who is undeviated. Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. This is the devotional service of one who is a pure devotee. Ahaituki means and apratihata. What do these two words mean? Unmotivated and uninterrupted and unmotivated. These two things are required for one who is devotional in devotional service. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives many more verses. It's all nights. Yeah, you can have my password. There's nothing really to see in there. Hi. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says some other things about this, about what is a Kanishta Adhikari, what is a Madhyam Adhikari, and what is a Uttam Adhikari. Why is this actually very important to know? Because if you treat a Uttam Adhikari like a Kanishta Adhikari, then actually you make a lot of offenses. Imagine if some senior Maharaj or senior Vaishnavi comes and you say, have you heard of Bhagavad Gita? Have you heard of Bhagavad Gita? This is prasadam. You know, and then they're like, "Whoa! I kind of know all this," and it's actually redundant. It's actually redundant. I remember there was one devotee in Columbus. There was one Prabhupada disciple, but the Prabhupada disciple wasn't wearing devotional clothes. He was wearing pants, and he was wearing like a T-shirt. Yadavacharya Prabhu, and this new person who is just like very new to Krishna consciousness, he sees this, he's Indian body, he sees this Westerner coming into the temple. He's like, wow, a Westerner, older man has come into the temple, and he immediately tells, this is Srila Prabhupada, and this is him, this is this, and Yadavacharya, this Prabhupada was so humble. He's like, wow, this is Srila Prabhupada? This is him? Wow, what did he do? Actually, similar story, His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj. When he first met, he was reading Bhagavad Gita, and he's never seen Srila Prabhupada. He's reading Gita, and he comes to, I believe, Gorakhpur, and then he wants to meet Srila Prabhupada. Then he goes into this room, and he's like, I want to meet Srila Prabhupada, he tells this person. Then he says, why do you want to meet Srila Prabhupada? And he says, he is my eternal spiritual master, and he is preaching the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout the world. And then he says, who is this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? This person is asking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself who is preaching Nam Kirtan. And then he said, no, the person is saying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just a devotee of God, he is not God himself. And then Radha Govinda Maharaj is trying to explain this to this person. And then finally, Radha Govinda Maharaj says, Chup karo. He says, be quiet, just be quiet, just be quiet. And Maharaj himself is saying this. And then finally, these people come in the room and pay obeisances, and he realizes he's talking to Srila Prabhupada himself. and Srila Prabhupada was testing Radha Govinda Maharaj. And then Radha Govinda Maharaj, after he realizes that he's preaching to Srila Prabhupada, he says, I'm so sorry, maaf kijiye, please forgive me. And then Prabhupada said, I liked when I was chastised by you. So in general, of course, the pure devotee doesn't mind if, there's some people who, like this person was talking about, like, you're not the body, you're the soul, and things like that. Yeah, and actually the pure devotees relish these things. It's not that they're only talking about very high topics. They actually relish even like the basics of Gita, which are actually the what is actually the basics of Gita. The Gita is actually a super high philosophy. But there's nothing actually basics. Just when we say basics of Gita, you're not the body, you're the soul. But we can say that like a mantra. But to what extent have we realized that we're not the body, we're the soul? To understand that is very high realization. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about the Kanishta Adhikari. Yahar komal shraddha se kanishtha jana, krame krame tenho bhakta hoibe uttam. So Yahar komal shraddha, komal pliable. Whoever has pliable shraddha, se kanishtha jan. He is a kanishta, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us a amazing understanding. He's saying, krame krame, step by step, tenho bhakta hoibe uttam. He becomes a uttam bhakta by following the step-by-step process given in bhakti. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, this is a practical experience to you. If you're in a crowd, if you're in a very big crowd, and if you want to find the best person in that crowd, Mahaprabhu is giving us the solution to how to find the best person in that crowd. Prabhu ko hai yara mukhe sune ek bar, Krishna naam se puja shreshta sabakar. Prabhu ko hai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ko hai, he says, yara mukhe bolo hari hari. He says, in from his mouth, shuni, if he's shunya, ek bar, one time he hears, Krishna naam, se puja sabakar shreshta. Saba means all, Shrestha means best. So one who, out of a crowd, if one person says Krishna once, and you can understand to be the best man out of the common group. Hare Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says further, Atayeva yara mukhe eka Krishna naam, Seta Vaishnava kori tanhara saman. One who is interested in chanting the holy name of Krishna, or who by practice likes to chant Krishna's names, should be accepted as a Vaishnava and offered respects as such, at least within the mind. I'm just reading from the purport of Nectar Instruction 5. Srila Prabhupada is giving all these verses. And now what is a Madhyam Adhikari? Shastra Yukti Nahi Jane Dridha Shradhavan Madhyam Adhikari se Maha Bhagyavan. A person whose conclusive knowledge of the Shastras is not very strong, but who has developed very firm faith in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and who is also undeterred in the execution of the prescribed devotional service, should be considered a Madhyam Adhikari. Such person is considered very Bhagyavan, very fortunate. So these are the types of people, and connecting it back to the Bhāgavatam verse that we're studying today, we have the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, as this verse is saying, is out of Dui Padu Pashu. Many people in this world are Dui Pada Pashu, two-legged animals. As His Grace Tulsi Prabhu mentioned so nicely, there are different types of people, and there's four-legged people. And out of better than those are two-legged people. So 2 legs. Some people, if you have more of something, actually, mentally, you get better at it. I have more apples than you, I'm better. But actually, in this case, you're reducing the legs, and you're becoming better. So, and amongst the two-legged people, who are the best? The humans. And who are the best humans? The Brahmanas. And why are the Brahmanas why are they the best? Because they give the best gift to this world. Everybody likes gifts. Everybody likes gifts, right? Yes or yes? Yes. The best gift in this world is they give knowledge. They give knowledge, and knowledge changes everything. Knowledge changes how you see the world. Knowledge, as Krishna says, knowledge and detachment can breed so many different amazing things. I was in Columbus, and I was hearing about from His Grace Dravida Prabhu, and we were discussing about renunciation and how knowledge brings about renunciation. And he told this very nice story, and I'll try to fit this story into our modern context. So imagine, this is how renunciation gives knowledge. Imagine it is Janmashtami, and you are coming and you're fasting all day. It hits 12 o'clock, and His Grace Sri Gopal Pran Prabhu is made the night before, he is known for making very nice sweet rice. And then we are all sitting in the Prasadam hall, and this sweet rice is about, and we're all standing there in the line, ladies first. Oh, and the ladies are standing in the front of the line, and Sri Gopal Prabhu is mixing up this cold sweet rice, and there's camphor, and there's cardamom pods, and Gita Nagari milk, and what else? Kesar, and sugar, and nice rice. He has made this amazing sweet rice. He's mixing up so nicely, and he's pouring it into the plastic glasses, and finally we're about to get it in our mouth, and Sri Gopal Prabhu comes running from the kitchen. Wait, stop! I have put salt in the sweet rice instead of sugar. Now, dear devotees, will we be very happy to taste this rice, salty rice? No. So, knowledge breeds renunciation. So, if you have knowledge that it is salt instead of sugar, then actually, even though it looks the same, it won't taste the same, but your emotions for it change immediately once you have knowledge of the subject, right? Yes, Prabhu?
Some people won't believe, they won't try.
That comes, I'll repeat it for the benefit of the camera. Tulsi Prabhu says that some people, okay, you want to say? Oh yeah, you can break the fast. These people are pure devotees, you know. They'll taste the salty sweet rice just to break the Ekadasi. And Prabhupada says there's different types of intelligences. One person, they won't touch, you tell them not to touch the hot fire, and then they won't touch the fire. Some people understand without even, having to be told that the fire is hot, so they won't touch it. Some people need to be told, don't touch the fire. Some people touch the fire, and then they realize, oh, it is hot, I shouldn't touch. And some people touch the fire, and then okay, let me try it again. Let me see if it's changed. What did Albert Einstein say? The definition of insanity is to try something again and again and expect a different result. So this is how the material world kind of works. We punas charvita charvananam, chewing the chewed. Imagine I have a stick of bubble gum, I am chewing it, I have taken all the flavor, then I pass it to my friend, and then they're like, oh, maybe there's something else. This is material world, and they're trying to chew what has already been chewed. So Brahmanas give this knowledge which cut. Guru also means to be heavy, and Brahmana Guru is one who can cut our attachments to this material world. So Brahmins give knowledge which can get you out of the cycle of birth and death. And why do Brahmanas do that? Because they regularly recite the Vedas. As we learn from 17th chapter of Gita, they're Satyam Bruyam Priyam Bruyat. They speak very truthfully, and they speak very pleasantly. And if you look at first canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam, when Parikshit Maharaj is seeing the bull who is on one leg, what is the leg that is left? Anybody know? Truthfulness. One understanding our acharyas give for why truthfulness is there is because the Srimad Bhāgavatam exists. The Srimad Bhāgavatam is the ultimate truth. And the more we quote from the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhāgavatam, and the more we understand how these things fit into our everyday lives, the more we'll actually be living in transcendence. Now, Bhagavad Gita mentions Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishtham, that the Bhagavad Gita is saying Guna Karma, that the Varnas are by Guna and Karma. It is not by birth. And this is backed up by Narada Muni, the Narada Muni, in Srimad Bhāgavatam 7:11-35. It's one of the most quoted verses of Srila Prabhupada. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam pumso varna vyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat tenaiva vinirdishet. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. So, as we can see in this verse, that it is not based on the body of the people. It is based on how he acts. And I was just reading this book, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. It's very good to read this year. This is the 150th anniversary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. You can make a vow or try to read Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, or hear more about Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He's one of our most empowered acharyas. And he mentions, he actually got a lot of pushback, because he was giving Upavita, which is the Brahmin thread, and giving them the Brahma Gayatri to people who are non-Brahmanas. And I was just reading this one section, and bear with me here. And up to this point, he was following the footsteps of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Naham Vipro. He says this verse that I am not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I am not a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. I am Gopi, Bhartur, Padakamalyor, Dasa, Das, Anudas. But he still gave this, and the conception that he gave it, many people actually argued, even in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, that why do you want people to become Brahmanas? Because Brahmanism is against the principle of Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sashna, to be humble like a blade of grass, because he's saying the Bhāgavatam itself, it can't stop from glorifying the Brahmanas. Now the understanding that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is given is actually that we are becoming the quality of Brahmanas. Let me find this verse. Trinadapi. Yes, this is it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati maintained that the Goswami Parivars were but mundane families who clearly lacked the potency to uphold the purity of or spread Lord Chaitanya's mission. He criticized that antithetical to Trinadapi Sunichena, the spirit essential to the followers of Chaitanya, these gurus by descent were inordinately proud of their purported high birth and lofty positions. So actually our understanding was quite different about what he meant about when we give up Brahmanas. I can't find the section, but as we can see from our example of Haridas Thakur, when we always think about non-Brahmin Vaishnavas, the name Haridas Thakur always comes up. And this is actually very true to what Haridas Thakur, as we know, Haridas Thakur was Brahma, and Brahma was meditating, as I was just reading in Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, and he was saying that Sri Brahma was afraid to make offenses to Krishna again after Brahma Vimohan Leela. And he wanted to come, he has to come in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Leela, and he said, and he meditated in Antardvip, the central island of Navadvip, and then Lord Chaitanya came to him, and Krishna came to him, and he said, during my incarnation as Gaura, you will be born in a family of mlechas and will preach the glory of the holy name and bring auspiciousness to all living beings. And Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat mentions this also. Haridas Thakur was born in a low caste family on the Lord's order in order to show that caste and class have no importance at all. All the scriptures say that a devotee of Vishnu, though born in a lowly family, is still worshipable by all. What will one's caste do for one born in a high caste but does not worship Krishna? He will go to hell in spite of his high birth. Haridas took a low birth just to bear witness to these scriptural statements. He's comparable to Prahlad, who was born in a family of demons, or Hanuman, who was born a monkey. They belong only superficially to lower castes. So someone may say, why do we have to hear from Prahlad? He was born in a Daitya family. He's a demon. Demon family. Same with Bali Maharaj. Why would somebody have to listen to Hanuman? He was a monkey. Monkeys give us a lot of instructions these days, especially in Vrindavan. And why do we have to listen to Haridas Thakur? He was not brought in a Brahmin family. But all these arguments are completely antithetical to the idea of devotional service, because one who has understood this, who is not even on that level, has not understood the first thing about Bhagavad Gita, which is Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. And I'd like to just end. I've spoken about a few things. Can I have my phone real quick? There's a nice verse I'd like to, it's from Padyavali. I'd like to just share this with the group for the benefit of everyone. This is from Padyavali, and I'll sing this verse. Vyadasya charanam dhruvasya chavayo vidya gajendrasya ka kubjaya kimunamarupamadikam kim sudamno dhanam vamshako vidurasya yadava pater ugrasya kim paurusham bhaktya tushyati kevalam chaguner bhakti priyo madhava. So just as I sung this verse, anybody could figure out a couple words? Anybody heard a couple words that they found familiar? Bhakti priyo madhava, yes. What is it? Gajendra. Yes. Any other words anybody heard? Kubja. Oh, Kubja, okay. Dhruva. Anybody else? Should I sing it again? Vyadasya charanam dhruvasya chavayo vidya gajendrasya ka kubjaya kim unamarupamadikam kim sudhamno dhanam vamshako vidurasya yadava pater ugrasya kim paurusham bhaktya tushyati kevalam nachaguner bhakti priyo madhava. Anybody heard anything else? Vidura, Sudama. Kevalam. So I might not even have to read the translation. It's pretty clear, but I'll just read it for the benefit. Some say he is pleased, he's talking about Krishna, he is pleased only with virtuous behavior. But what piety was there in the hunter Dharma, who spent his whole life killing animals? Remember Burgari, the hunter? Others say that one must be mature to please the Lord, but Dhruva was only 5 years old. Some say that Bhagavan is most impressed with erudition, but was the elephant king Gajendra a great scholar? If Prabhu is attracted by beauty, then how did Kubja charm him? If Bhagavan is happy with wealth, then what about the impoverished Sudama? If high birth is only means to please Bhagavan, then what would have happened to Viduraji? And if Prabhuji is attained by strength, then how did the weak Ugrasena, incarcerated in Kamsa's prison, get his favor? And such is Madhava's affections for his devotees. So it is not anything external. If it is money, it is fame, is it power, is it intelligence? It is only patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmana. This is the only qualification of devotion. Devotion is the only qualification. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Does anybody have any comments, questions, arguments? Yes. If any questions, Tulsi, Pandava Prabhu here also.
I'm just going to use this mic because I don't want to go.
Yeah, you're fine.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the nice class. I was wondering, and maybe you and maybe Tulsi or Pandava could elaborate on this more, but you spoke about the Uttama Adhikari, the Madhyama Adhikari and the Kanishta Adhikari, and you see kind of in the Bhāgavatam and the CC, they have differing definitions. And so to my understanding, one of them is based on like Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari, and the other is Kanishta Bhakta, Madhyama Bhakta, and Uttama Bhakta. Because I've also, and to my understanding, there's like different levels to the Kanishta as well. There's like a Kanishta Madhyama, or there's, a Madhyama Kanishta, for example. So maybe you could elaborate on that a little more. I'd like to have a deeper understanding.
Not even the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had different understandings. Who is it, the residents of Kuliagram? Every year they'd come in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they'd ask him the same question 3 years in a row. And then every time Mahaprabhu said something different. So, Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, maybe Tulsi and Pandava Prabhu can say a few words about this.
Thank you. Just like Prabhupada explains that the three gunas, they are mixing, and they have 3 times 3 is 9, and then 81, and etc., etc. So there are different subdivisions inside the gunas. In the same way, everything has the same nature in this material world. You have the main divisions and then you have subdivisions, because the gunas are always fighting for supremacy. So the same about the devotees who are under the modes. So the modes are interwoven in different ways. So regarding the Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama, we have different examples. For example, the Uttama devotees, sometimes it is explained that, for example, Dhruva Maharaj, he is Uttama devotee, but he experienced anger sometimes. We know the story when he was challenged by these yakshasas were there, and he was very angry. Then we see the example of Jada Bharata, who, when insulted by Rahugana, there were some traces of dissatisfaction in his mind. So this is lighter scenario. The Dhruva Maharaj got really angry. These are different levels of Uttama devotees. And then you have, I forgot who is the example of Uttama devotee who didn't have any influence by the material energy. So in the same way you have with the Madhyamas, and the same way with the Kanishtas. I cannot give you now examples about them, but it's the same principle.
You want to say? Hare Krishna. Make it easier.
Haribo. Yeah, so basically we have a different criteria. Like here, some of the criteria were faith, and another one was knowledge. But then we have other criteria, like for example, how they deal with the devotees. What is their way of dealing with the devotees, or to what extent their anarthas are destroyed. So all these will be different criteria. And like sometimes some devotee, he may be very advanced in one criteria, but not so advanced in the other one. So in this way you have a different categories. Like Pandava was explaining, maybe okay, The mode of goodness is a lot, but there is also quite some tamas still. So let's say maybe he already has quite some knowledge, but also maybe we think, okay, he has few anarthas that are very, very deep and he's still working on them. So like that, we will have these categories of Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama, and they will be like yesterday we were speaking, like spread throughout. So they start from some place and they go to the other place, and all in between is all this category, different levels of this category. Like, for example, someone may be very advanced in terms of knowing Shastra, but still he may have some problems dealing with the devotees properly. So that means, okay, on this place he may be still Kanishta. Although he is very firm in the process and he's like knowledgeable and he knows what's the goal and his mind is fixed there, but in this particular spot still he has to work. Otherwise, generally, how we are going to take these three categories, like Kanishta will start from the beginning of the process, and somewhere till Anartha Nivritti it will be kind of Kanishta. Why? Because till you have very strong Anarthas, you won't be convinced to practice very strongly. Then once someone is very strongly situated in the process, that means more or less he is on the platform of Nishta. That's why he is very strong, steadily situated. And then till something like the level of whatever, Sakti, it will be kind of Madhyama. And then the highest levels, okay, there is no coming back, practically speaking. So someone is Uttama, above the darkness. There is no question of coming back. But the point is there are levels, and you have different categories within these levels. It's not just like black or white. Jadvaita Maharaj, one time he was giving the example like, if you have some kind of whatever, like this, how you call it? Mishpult, or how you call this thing?
Book stand.
No.
Like a sound system.
Yes. Like on the sound system, you have a button that is on and off. So yes or no, that's it. But then you have so many buttons which are gradation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So like in the beginning of spiritual life, we are thinking more about yes or no. Is he a devotee or he is not a devotee? Is he pure or he is not pure? Is he chanting nicely or he is not chanting nicely? But then gradually when we become deeper in spiritual life, we start thinking how much he is not influenced by the anarthas, how much he is situated within the process. So we see that there are different gradations.
I was thinking also this verse by Rupa Goswami. He has a question in the back. I was just thinking about this verse by Rupa Goswami. There's about the Bhakta Priyo Madhava, that you have Kubja, Dhruva, this. We could make an opposite verse that someone could write it maybe, like the austerities of Durvasa Muni. He wasn't able to, he's doing so much austerities, but he wasn't able to relate with one's devotees. Sobhari Muni did so much austerities, but then fell down to a fish. There's about moral, being moral and right and being a nice king. The opulence of Dhritarashtra, but it did not please. So we can make a verse which is not pleasing also. So the externals, yeah. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Is there a thinking of dimension expansion, lateral or linear?
Lateral? Our dimension expansion?
Yes. Or dimension acknowledgement, and with that, the creation of a knowledge.
I'm not sure I'm understanding. Dimension means?
Dimensional.
In terms of time, space, and all that?
Right.
Yeah, there's many dimensions in this world.
Correct.
There's a spiritual dimension, there's a material dimension. Do you want to take a crack at this, Narda?
Yeah, okay.
Narda's our residence dimension scientist.
Okay, so you're asking in terms of like expansion of consciousness. Consciousness it can't be like labeled so materially and objectively. Like, I don't know, sometimes like we'll read something online and like, or like we'll read some like nice like kind of like statement that sounds nice about expanding our consciousness. But in one sense, your consciousness isn't expanding physically. Like, consciousness in itself is a symptom of the soul. It's a symptom of who you are. And so the process of Krishna consciousness is it's getting rid of these material conscious things that are covering who we are. So that expansion, it's not actually expanding physically, it's actually just naturally becoming cleaned out and uncovered. And so like consciousness in itself, it's not like in terms of dimensions, you know, like you have a second dimension, you have a third dimension or whatever, right? Levels. Yeah, like levels. But in terms of spiritual consciousness, it's beyond all those things. We're not worried about, you know, expanding to a higher form of material consciousness. Like just like in this material world, there's different planetary systems that operate on different material dimensional planes. But we're not concerned with that because that's actually not the nature of who we are. So we naturally want to uncover the natural spiritual consciousness that's within the spiritual realm. So, I mean, in like the 5th canto, it's like depicted in a sense that like different dimensions are on top of each other. So to that question you're asking in terms of material consciousness, yeah, it can be like vertical. Yeah, but the basis of it is that it's not like consciousness can't be so objectively labeled. And especially in this practice, we're not concerned with that. We're concerned with actual spiritual consciousness, which is the nature of who we are. And that's beyond any type of material dimension that exists in these universes. So,
thank you so much. If we have any further comments, we can go on to, we can have it at the Prasadam Hall. Gandhara Srimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Can I be returned to the private domain? Can I be returned to the private domain?